All right, let's face it, as MLB fans, we could all use some optimism about our teams. No matter how good or bad our favorite team is, anything can happen. So that's why in today's video, I'm diving into the best case scenario for every MLB team. Some of these will be very unrealistic, but this first one, it could definitely happen. Starting off with a team that threw $765 million at Juan Soto, none other than the New York Mets. The lineup through Francisco Lindor to Mark Vientos has proven to be a really good lineup, but for the Mets to win it all in 2025, they need Jesse Winker, Francisco Alvarez, Jeff McNeil, and Tyrone Taylor to have good seasons. Mets fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the projected lineup as of right now. I love Jesse Winker. He was one of my favorite players growing up as a Reds fan, and I think Alvarez has a lot of potential as well. Pitching-wise, Sean Manaea is injured right now, but I'm predicting a masterclass season from Kodai Senga if the Mets want to make a deep run this year. Miami Marlins. Now, Yuri Perez and Sandy Alcantara are two of the best young pitchers when healthy, and they're expected to make a return probably like mid-season, maybe. I think Sandy Alcantara is going to be a little limited, but he should be ready to come back when the season starts. When I first looked at the Marlins' projected lineup for 2025, it kind of looks like one of those lineups you see when you simulate too far in MLB The Show. But when I did a little bit more digging, I found out that Xavier Edwards is a dog and Connor Norby is pretty good too. So maybe those guys might give them a little bit of offensive production. Just keep in mind that the Marlins did make the playoffs 3 years ago, 2022. That is somewhat recent, so it can happen again. And then maybe this time they go all the way. Atlanta Braves, not much to really say on this one. Just have another dominant regular season and don't choke in the postseason, and you'll find yourself in the World Series and just win the thing. Seriously, this team is really good, so there's no reason they really shouldn't make a run for it this year. Same thing could kind of be said for the Philadelphia Phillies. Lineup is loaded. The pitching rotation is really good as well. The Philadelphia Phillies could definitely make a run for it this year. They've been very close in the past. Yeah, this one is very realistic. I really like the direction the Washington Nationals are putting themselves in. So for them to win the World Series, the young talent would just have to play at their primes early in their career. James Woods, CJ Abrams, they both have really good seasons. The pitching is great, and then the Nationals win it all. It could happen. On the topic of young teams with talent, let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds. Elly De La Cruz, Matt McLain, Hunter Green, Spencer Steer, Nick Lodolo. I could keep going on, but the best thing that the Reds did in this offseason was get Terry Francona. They got themselves a new manager that has experience winning, and I might be a little biased, might be a little delusional, but the Reds are coming for it all this year. Don't be surprised. For the Chicago Cubs to win the World Series this year, Kyle Tucker, their biggest free agency signing, has to have a great year in his first year in Chicago. Dansby Swanson has to have a big year, and the rotation needs to cook as well. And we might have to start playing Pokemon Go or something again, so it feels like 2016. That would help the Cubs a lot. The Milwaukee Brewers would need a great season from Christian Yelich, and they need Jackson Chourio to have an amazing sophomore season. They lost Devin Williams, so they're going to need some people to step up in the bullpen, but I'm not too worried about that because the Brewers, every year, they lose some players, and you think they're going to take a step down, but they don't. So maybe this year they make a little run in the postseason, and you never know, they could win it. The Pittsburgh Pirates, it all relies on the bats because that rotation is young and it is really good. You got Paul Skeens and Jared Jones and David Bednar. The rotation is gonna be good if healthy, but they need Key Brian Hayes. They need O'Neal Cruz. They need some of the bats to wake up. The Cardinals are another very young team. They're rebuilding right now. Usually they're always good, so it's weird to see them in this rebuilding process, but I kind of see the vision. Mason Wynn is definitely solid. Guys like Jordan Walker have a lot of potential. The NL Central is kind of up for grabs too, so the Cardinals could sneak in, and after that, you never know what can happen in the playoffs. The Cardinals have a history of being really good in the postseason, so maybe they can have history repeat itself. The San Diego Padres, another team that has been in the run of it these past few years. They're in an absolute bloodbath, which is the NL West. They've struggled in the postseason these past couple years, but this team has a spark to them. I feel like if they get hot in the postseason, I don't know who's stopping them. Losing Jerkson Profar does hurt, though. That is a big loss for them. The Arizona Diamondbacks are a team I really like heading into 2025. I know the NL West, like I said, is a lethal division, but they went out and got Corbin Burns, gave him like $210 million. So you know that rotation is going to be good, and the lineup is pretty solid too. If the Diamondbacks win it all, just don't be surprised. The San Francisco Giants had a very good offseason. They got Willie Adames and they got Jung-Ho Lee too. They have Logan Webb in the rotation and former Cy Young winner Robbie Ray. He hasn't really shown that form, that 2021 form, but if he does, then the rotation is going to be really good. It just kind of sucks that the Giants are in the worst division to be just competitive in. People are kind of sleeping on the Giants, acting like the rest of the division is just going to run them over. But this team really doesn't have any holes on their team, so they just kind of got to let the season play out and they can make a run for it. The Colorado Rockies have pretty much done everything you could do wrong in the past couple years, and they're in the best division in a long time. But remember 2007? Remember Rocktober? Baseball is a game where crazy things happen, and also Brenton Doyle is a dog too. Ryan McMahon is solid. The pitching, I don't really want to talk about the pitching, but yeah, for the Rockies to win it all, history would have to repeat itself, and Rocktober would have to make a return. Lastly, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. It says in the script here that I have to talk about them, but I think I'm just not going to do that. Okay, we'll briefly go over the Dodgers. They are the best team in baseball. They're the favorites, so I think them winning the World Series is very realistic, unfortunately. So, yeah. But you know me. You know I don't like these videos being too long, too much effort. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, part 2, where we go over the AL and how every AL team can win in 2025.